Hello viewers, thanks for clicking. Welcome to Bobber English. Today we'll have some fun with English words. Most probably you have heard the word palindrome. Palindrome is a word, phrase or group of words which reads the same backward as forward. You can see some words I have written on the board: Anna, civic, kayak, level, madam, mom, noon, radar. So all these words, if you read forward and backward, the words will remain the same. Suppose the first one, A, N, N, A. And if you read back, A, N, N, A. So the word has remained the same. Similarly, second one, C, I, V, I, C. C, I, V, I, C. Kayak. K-A-Y-A-K. K-A-Y-A-K. Level. L-E-V-E-L. Level. L-E-V-E-L. Madam. M-A-D-A-M. M-A-D-A-M. Mom. M-O-M. M-O-M. Noon. N-O-O-N, N-O-O-N. Radar, R-A-D-A-R, R-A-D-A-R. Though palindrome has got very little to do with learning English, but surely in English there are many words and phrases which can be written inversely. Like breakout, outbreak. Come in, income. So today we will analyze these words and see whether these words make sense or not. Like palindrome, we will try out some words and phrases to see if we invert them whether they are making sense or not. Suppose our first phrase is breakout. Breakout means appear suddenly. Suppose we can say cholera has broken out in the town. If we invert this word, it will become outbreak. So what is the meaning of outbreak? Outbreak means sudden appearance. We can put it in a sentence like, there was an outbreak of coronavirus in the city. So here we have seen that if we invert the words, there are some words which still make sense. And it is one of the easiest ways of improving vocabulary. Let's move to our next word. Our next phrase is burst out. Burst out means explode. Suppose we can put it in a sentence like, she burst out weeping. If we invert this burst out, it will become outburst. So what's the meaning of outburst? Outburst means explosion. Suppose we can say that she showed a violent outburst of passion at the mention of his name. So here also we have seen that two different words they are making when they are inverse. Okay, let's move to our next word. Our next word is cast down. Cast down means turn downward. We can say that she cast down her eyes at the mention of her husband's name. So if we invert this word, it will become downcast. So see whether it has got meaning or not. Yes, downcast means depressed. We can say that his downcast mood proves that he has failed. Let's move to our next word. Our next phrase is cast out. Cast out means to reject. We can say that he has been cast out by his friends for his conduct. Now let's inverse the word. If we invert the word, it will become outcast. So outcast means one rejected or excommunicated. Suppose we can say that he lives as an outcast in the society. Next word is come in. Come in means enter, that you know. Suppose we can say that he asked me to come in. So if we invert this word, it will become income. We know the meaning of income. Income means money that someone gets from working. Suppose we can ask, what's your income? Our next phrase is come out. Come out means appear. We can say that the secret has come out. And if we invert this word, it will become outcome. So what is the meaning of outcome? Outcome means result. His hostile criticism is the outcome of his jealousy. Next, come over. Come over means change one side for another or to befall. Some 50 enemy soldiers came over to our side. So if we invert this word, it will become overcome. So what is the meaning of overcome? Overcome means surmount. He overcame all difficulties by dint of perseverance. So here we have seen that if we invert the word, it has got very nice meaning. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is cry out. Cry out means shout. So we can say that the man cried out in pain. So what will happen if we invert the word? It will make the word like outcry. So what's the meaning of outcry? Outcry means a confused noise. Suppose we can tell that they raised an outcry that a child is drowning. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is do over. Do over means do again. So we can say that he had to do over the work. So if we invert this word, it will become overdo. So what is the meaning of overdo? Overdo means do too much. The actor overdid his part. So if anyone does overdo, surely it is not most of the cases acceptable. Now let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is draw over. Draw over means persuade to change sides. Suppose we can say, he tried to draw me over to his side. Now, if we invert this word, it will make overdraw. Overdraw means to draw more than credit. Suppose we can say, I have overdrawn my account in the bank. So surely it is not a very good situation. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is fall down. Fall down means falling down from any raised platform. Suppose we can say he fell down from his horse. So if we invert this word, it will become downfall. So what is the meaning of downfall? Downfall means ruin. So we can say that how do you account for the downfall of the Parthian emperor? Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is fit out. Fit out means furnish. Suppose if we put it in a sentence, we can say the ship has been fitted out for the voyage. If we invert fit out, it will become outfit. So what's the meaning of outfit? Outfit means complete equipment. Suppose we can say the outfit for the journey will cost me too much. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is give out. So what is the meaning of give out? Give out means announce. He gave out that he was ill. Now, if we invert this word, it will become outgive. Outgive means surplus in liberality. So if we put it in a word, in a sentence, it will become I shall outgive you in the charity. Now, let's move to our next phrase, that is go out. Go out means move out. Suppose we can say he has gone out for a walk. So if we invert this word, it will become outgo. So what is the meaning of outgo? Outgo means that which goes out. Suppose we can say my outgo exceeds my income. So surely this is quite interesting way of learning vocabulary. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is grow out. Grow out means result from. So how can you put it in a sentence? We can say that anarchy grows out of discontent. So what will happen if we invert this word? It will become outgrow. So outgrow means surplus in growth. Suppose we can say this tree has outgrown all other trees in the garden. Now let's move to our next phrase, that is hold up. Hold up means keep up or to raise. Suppose we can say he tried in vain to hold up the prestige of the family. So if we inverse hold up, it will become uphold. So what is the meaning of uphold? Uphold means sustain. I can't uphold your honor. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is hold with. Hold with means agree with someone. Suppose we can say I hold with your point. Or in negative we can say I don't hold with your point. But if you invert this word, it will become withhold. So what is the meaning of withhold? Withhold means keep back. Suppose we can say his promotion was withheld. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is keep up. Keep up means retain. So we can say that keep up your spirits. If we invert this word, it will become upkeep. So what is the meaning of upkeep? Upkeep means maintenance. Suppose we can put it in a sentence. He gave his all for the upkeep of the hospital. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is layout. Layout means spread for inspection. He laid out the papers on the table. If we invert this word, then it will be outlay. So what is the meaning of outlay? Outlay means investment. Suppose you can say that the total capital outlay of the farm is about 100,000 taka. Let's move to our next phrase, that is let in. Let in means admit. He refused to let me in. If we tell inversely, it will become inlet. So what's the meaning of inlet? Inlet means the passage by which something is let in. Suppose you can say nostrils are the inlets of fresh air from outside. Now our next phrase is let out. Let out means divulge. Suppose you can say he has left out the secret. He has told the secret to others, what he was not supposed to, most probably. If we invert this word, it will become outlet. So what is the meaning of outlet? Outlet means the passage by which anything is let out. Suppose we can say the water of the tank flowed out through the outlet. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is look out. Look out means watch. Suppose you can say the eagle is looking out for its prey. Now if we write it in inverse way, it will become outlook. What is the meaning of outlook? Outlook means a person's way of looking at something. Suppose we can say he is a man with a narrow outlook, or he is a man of broad outlook. So we can say any one of the ways. Now let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is look over. Look over means examine. Suppose we can tell he looked over the answer papers. And if we invert this word, it will become overlook. Overlook means neglect. He overlooked my claim. So most probably we don't like to be overlooked. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is power over. Power over means to have influence. Suppose we can say I have no power over him. Now if we invert this word, it will become overpower. So what is the meaning of overpower? Overpower means subdue. Suppose we can say the thief offered resistance but was soon overpowered, and at last most probably he was caught. Now let's move to our next phrase, that is pour down. Pour down means to cause a liquid to flow downward. Suppose you can say tears poured down his cheek. So if we invert this word, it will become downpour. Downpour. Downpour means a heavy fall of rain. Suppose we can say there was a heavy downpour for 1 hour. To our next slide, that is pour out. Pour out means to put some drink into a glass or cup from another container.
How can you put it in a sentence? You can say he poured out water from the jar. So now if you write it in inverse order, it will become outpour. So what is the meaning of outpour? Outpour means abundant supply. Suppose we can say the outpour of shells from our guns set the enemy's advance. Let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is put out. Put out means extinguish. Suppose we can say put out the lamp. If we invert this word, it will become output, and surely it has got very nice meaning. So what is the meaning of this? The meaning is production. Suppose we can say what is the monthly output of the factory? Let's move to our next phrase, that is reach over. The water of the river reached over the banks. So if we invert this word, it will become overreach. What is the meaning of overreach? Overreach means cheat. The grocer overreached me. Our next phrase is rule over. Rule over means control over. Suppose we can say he ruled over the country wisely. Now, if we invert this word, it will have different meaning. Suppose it will become overrule. So, and the meaning of overrule is reject. We can say the president overruled the objection. Now let's move to our next phrase. Our next phrase is run out. Run out means be exhausted. Suppose we can say provision ran out and the garrison surrendered. Now if we write this word inversely, it will become outrun. What's the meaning of outrun? Outrun, run over. Run over means injure with car. Suppose you can say a child was run over by a motor car. And if we invert this word, it will become overrun. Overrun means spread over. Suppose you can say the whole country was overrun by the invading army. Our next phrase is set in. Set in means begin. Suppose you can say the rains have set in. Now if we invert this word, it will become inset. What is the meaning of inset? Inset means a thing that is put in or inserted. Suppose we can say the ring is inset with several stones or several diamonds, you can say. Our next phrase is set out. Set out means start. You can say he has set out on his travels. So if we invert this word, it will become outset. What is the meaning of outset? Outset means beginning. I warned you at the outset. At the very beginning, I warned you. But if now next word is offshoot. Offshoot means branch. Suppose you can tell that what are the offshoots of this Bahmani kingdom. Now if you invert this word, it will become shoot up. Shoot up means rise upwards. The rocket shot up into the sky. Our next word is stand with. Stand with means be consistent with. Suppose you can say your argument does not stand with reason. If we invert this word, it will become withstand. What is the meaning of withstand? Withstand means oppose successfully. Suppose you can say they could not withstand our attack. Our next word is take over. Take over means accept. We can say the headmaster took over charge on Saturday last. Now, if we invert this word, it will become overtake. Overtake means catch. Suppose you can say the dog soon overtook the fox. Our next phrase is throw over. Throw over means abandon. Suppose you can say my friends threw me over. If you invert throw over, it will become overthrow. Overthrow means destroy. Suppose you can say the power of the Marathas was overthrown at the third battle of Panipat. Next phrase is turnout. Turnout means expel. Suppose you can say the boy has been turned out of the class for misconduct. Now, if we write this word inversely, it will become outturn. So, what is the meaning of outturn? Outturn means production. Suppose you can say, what is the outturn of this meal?